There we go. And hey there, welcome back. It's been a while. This is the TYF, the youngfolks.com DC Detective Comics Debrief. This is technically our episode number 9. We've been on a bit of a break. We were on a break for 2 of CW's breaks. So, well, you know, Oscars and stuff. Yeah. Busy time for us. So again, I'm here with my co-host Allison Johnson.
Hi.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, no.
That's that dead air. Perfect.
So I think to put out an apology now for people who have like high def headphones. It is the Easter weekend and I'm at my family's doing a podcast in the basement, like a cliche, and the dryer's going. So
journalism is fantastic.
So I'm just putting that out there into the world, and I apologize.
So we are, Allison and I are the website's authorities on the DC superhero television series. And since we've last seen you guys, or you guys have last bestowed upon us, there is a new one in the Legends of Tomorrow that now airs on Thursdays. And of course, Arrow's still airing on Wednesdays and The Flash is on Tuesdays. Supergirl is on Monday. And wow, can't they do more than one of these a night?
I don't know. If we had a review 2 a night, I don't know. Be careful what you wish for.
It's not necessarily the number of reviews, it's the time that I have to sit down and watch them.
Oh, true. I enjoy watching them so much these days, though, that like it's kind of nice to have one a night. It's like I have one show no matter what, and it's DC related, which I love. But yeah, no, it has been a while. A lot of things have changed in the sense of quality, because I think the last time we talked was before the team up, and
it was after it was the team up.
Okay, so we talked about that, but I think ever since, every show has gotten better. Arrow's dipped a little, but I think
that Arrow has gotten worse, except for one small arc in the middle, but we'll get to that.
I thought, I think The Flash has had a big upturn, especially with the crossover episodes. I think Supergirl in the last 2 episodes has had a spike in quality, like a crazy spike in quality, actually, just in time for The Flash to cross over this upcoming Monday. And Legends of Tomorrow is just kind of a lot of
fun. I have found that I enjoyed Legends, like in its initial concept and like the 2-part pilot. I had fun with that. And then when I really started to dig deep and trying to figure out what the show was trying to do, I was like, this is just straight up silly.
I mean, I guess so, but I think because I accepted it as silly from the get-go, I appreciate it, and I do think it's allowing for some of the bit players to really shine. They're still having a lot of trouble with Kendra. They're still having a lot of trouble with, of all people, Ray. Which shouldn't be the case because Brandon Routh is so effortlessly charming, but they've made him into kind of a tool. And so, but yeah, I guess, sorry, we're kind of jumping to Legends of Tomorrow, but I think because it's the freshest for us, we haven't really gotten a chance to talk about it. But
no,
I think what's great about the show, at the very least, is it's kind of lukewarm Doctor Who.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a Doctor Who that's like kid acceptable, and it's for the superhero fans, and it very much kind of has that light adventurous tone with interdimensional travel and goofy jargon, and yeah.
Sure, but I think the best thing about it is it's given us a Sarah plot that's really interesting, and it's given us a Captain Cold.
So should we just start off with Legends of Tomorrow since we're kind of talking about it then?
That's what I'm saying. I think we should, because again, it's the newest and it's the one we haven't gotten a chance to talk about the most.
So whoever has been directing this show so far is doing a phenomenal work in directing the girl who plays Sarah better than she ever was on Arrow. Like she's all of a sudden a very interesting character.
Yeah, I think the writing's been better for her too. I think getting off of Arrow, and what I think Legends of Tomorrow does is better than Arrow and The Flash, and it's really the only thing that I think it does better than The Flash. It knows how to write for an ensemble. and it knows how to give each character its own individual beat each episode, whereas I think The Flash, when it has more cast members, tends to sacrifice others. Like when Patty was on, Iris kind of got shuffled to the side a lot because it was almost like they didn't know how to write for both the characters at the same time. Whereas,
right. And then they're trying to cram that in as a plot B or a plot C because Barry versus Zoom is still so important.
And when you have such a sprawling cast, it's really important to not let one get lost in it, or to make them seem inconsequential. And what Legends of Tomorrow has done really, really well is make sure that every cast member feels important, even if we don't like them, or even like how Kendra really is kind of falling way below the bar of what we expected. She's important to the series, you know, and she doesn't necessarily detract from the overall quality. It's just kind of like we watch and scratch our heads at how they can make Hawkgirl so lame.
Well, at least they killed off Connor because he was weighing her down a lot in the couple episodes that they were in prior to. Also, on the subject of Kendra, how many times has she mentioned that before she was just a barista?
I think
she very much likes that talking point. It's like that talking point that you have for you know, people that are established adults and you're just out of college and you're like, oh, I graduated. I'm a barista. I'm a Hawk person now. Things are great. I'm gonna go get another beer. This is awkward.
Yeah, no, and it does. It really does put an awkward roadblock in the dialogue for a little bit there too. But yeah, no. So Kendra, Ray are both falling short, and Stein has kind of been written to be very villainous.
I actually have found that the characters that have grown the most, obviously Wentworth Miller steals the show as Captain Cold, that goes without being said, but I feel like the relationship between Stein and Jax has grown much more than it ever did when it was on that couple episodes of Arrow and the beginning of the series.
I think it's grown, but I think they got off to a terrible start with it being him drugging him and doing it really casually. Like, I feel like we weren't supposed to take issue with it, but I'm pretty sure everybody took issue with it.
It was very much a to make ends meet to get the kid on board and so they could actually have a firestorm.
Well, they shouldn't have had him had a problem with it then, you know? Like, it was a really weird way to get the character started off. But
it was just a forced way to have them butting heads at the beginning of the series.
But I do think that Captain Cold and Sarah are without doubt the most interesting characters on the show. Mick Rory was for a while before he was, you know, quote unquote iced, but you know, we don't see a body, we don't know. So
he was getting very annoying after a while anyway, and I think the writers' room probably realized that after a few episodes and how much of a roadblock he was with his interjections in the group. So
really, I thought he was kind of interesting the way they played him, but I can see how.
The thing is that Wentworth Miller as Captain Cold is enjoyable. And look, these actors they've worked with each other, played off of each other as performers for a long time. But Wentworth Miller is enjoyably hammy, and because of the nature of Rory as a character, you're just kind of like, I was kind of rolling my eyes a little bit.
Sometimes, yeah. I think Dominic Purcell had a really good rapport though with obviously again Wentworth Miller, but also Katie Lotz as Sarah. So I think it depended episode to episode. I thought the last one he was in, you actually felt bad for him when Rip Hunter tore into him and called him meat. Like, I thought Purcell did such a good job with that like we kind of agree with Rip that like obviously you were just part of a package deal, but on the other hand, wow, Rip, you dick. Like
on the note of Rip Hunter, since I haven't heard what your opinion is on him at all. You used to talk about on our old episodes the concept of man pain in Oliver Queen and Barry Allen. Rip Hunter is is man pain incarnate in this series.
I know, and it's kind of disappointing, but I mean,
especially when it gets to the point where he's just sitting there in his office chair watching holograms of his wife and child on repeat.
I know. I mean,
like Jimmy Fallon and Fever Pitch.
It's interesting on the one hand because it allows Captain Cold to kind of take this role as like impromptu captain, whereas and like because Rip is such a mess up with it. But I do think Arthur Darvill is very talented, probably a lot more talented than the show deserves, and are writing him. So I'm still interested in him and his outcome because I'm such a fan of the actor from playing Rory on Doctor Who, but also on Broadchurch. But they need to give him something a little more interesting than like snapping at the rest of his crew and like moping.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the exposition that he gives about the repercussions of messing with like time travel and all that kind of stuff, it services the plot and people's understanding of the world just fine. But he has to, like, it makes the characters stop the show to explain these things every other week, basically.
No, exactly. I think they need to give him more than being just a serviced narrator. But
and then there was so the last episode that was on, I felt like was probably the weirdest in tone, and it was the Night of the Hawk. You watched that one, right?
Was that the one where they get trapped in the 50s?
It's the one where they get trapped in the 1950s, and it tries to do two things, and each thing should have been its own episode. They tried to have a weird horror movie homage in the back half of it and try to set it up, but peppered throughout they have this stuff where these characters, particularly Jax and Kendra and Sarah, are dealing with bigotry in the 1950s and how excessive it was.
Well, what I liked is I thought that was fine because it wasn't a huge plot point. It like happened, but it wasn't like the main objective of the episode. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't ignoring that shit would have happened either. So I didn't mind that. I did mind a little bit like the horror element, and then Vandal Savage knowing Kendra and like, you know, all that. It did get kind of messy towards the end, but them bringing up, you know, social injustices of that time period.
I thought it was a great subplot. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, but I don't think they could have made a whole episode of it without it feeling like a very special episode. And doing that in a superhero show is kind of weird. I think it's more interesting to kind of address it as like an issue and look at how they react to it and look how they call people out on it. But I can see where it kind of got like tonally messy for a little bit.
Exactly. Just combining those two elements in a single episode just seemed a little odd to me, where it's like they maybe both could respectively be subplots, but thrown together, yeah, right. It just came across as a little messy. I figured since we're talking about several episodes here, we could talk about our particular favorite episodes that we've seen in each of these shows since our break. With Legends, I feel like my favorite one so far, and maybe just because it has this like spanning like DC universe grandiose concept, but Star City 2046 was probably my favorite episode they've done so far, because I get to see more Deathstroke stories.
Yeah.
Because I miss I mean, even though it's technically supposed to be his son, it's basically the Kylo Ren to Deathstroke. It was cool to see that. It was very cool to see Star City Dystopia, and it was very cool to see Stephen Amell with the goatee that he never said he was going to have in the first place.
Yeah. I liked that one. I think I don't know, it kind of felt like a detour. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I mean?
Oh, it totally was.
So did the next one, which was my favorite, which was sorry, I'm forgetting the title of it. The one where Maroon. It was called Marooned.
Yeah, with the space pirates. That was great. That was good too. Yeah.
I loved that one. Like, I genuinely thought that was the best episode they'd done, and I thought it was just as good as some of the better ones on The Flash this season. I thought it was really well done, and I think it's because they contained the characters to the one ship. So it had to, or like two, but I guess with Sarah and Captain Cold, which again is kind of like the heart for me for the series, them getting their time alone locked up was really interesting. And I thought the ending standoff between, you know, Rory and Leonard was
that was building up over a couple of episodes, and the payoff, that was really good. My only problem with that episode was the whole, like, one episode of flirting between Kendra and Ray, and then all of a sudden they're all smoochy because he choked on lack of oxygen.
Yeah. So, I mean, that did kind of bother me, but it's also something that is kind of standard to me at this point with some CW shows for it to be like a little soapy. So
I just have to remember what channel this is on, even though I'm watching it on Hulu.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't really, again, it's so infrequent these days on the shows, so that like when something like that happens, it doesn't totally bother me. Sorry.
It doesn't agree with you.
Done,
but your opinion's valid.
Yeah. Shouting at me. But yeah. Sorry, I guess that's all I really have on Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, same here.
Have you been able to keep up with Supergirl?
I haven't. I just
it's fine.
Fell off the wagon.
Okay, because
I'm part of the problem, because now the show has not officially, as of yet, been picked up for renewal, which it could still.
No, I just thought, for some reason, I thought I had read it did.
When I saw that news last night.
I thought it got picked up like a couple of days before, but maybe I'm wrong, and we'll add a note to it on the description.
Yeah, I saw articles where it was like CBS listed its show renewals, and it also listed the shows that weren't renewed, and Supergirl was among them. But you never know; they might do it if there's really good ratings for this Flash episode.
Frustrated. Okay, listen, Supergirl has taken its time to kind of gain its footing, without a doubt. And I'm just going to be brief with this because you haven't kept up, and like,
yeah, go for it.
I'm sure other people haven't. And like, I haven't reviewed it much on the site because it is kind of inconsistent, and I don't like writing for like, it's a show that I can kind of pop in and out, and I think I give it enough coverage for it. But last week's episode was good, and it was solid, and it was interesting. But
that was with Martian Manhunter. I saw some scenes from that.
We got the backstory of Martian Manhunter, and it worked in various aspects, mostly just seeing the character again be in his full form. But the episode before that, which is when Kara is affected by Red Krypton and ends up becoming a villain and is like just, could possibly destroy the city, and like, she's antagonist for an episode. That was amazing. Like, usually I kind of half watch Supergirl where like I do something else and I watch it in the background just in case, it's something that I want to get pulled into. And this time I wasn't doing anything. I got completely sucked in. And in part because the storytelling was just so interesting, and we care about these characters now, especially Cat Grant and Kara. But more importantly, Melissa Benoist just shined in that episode, and the consequences were real and deeply felt by the end. She wakes up from being entranced by it, and it's not everything's fixed and everything's okay. She's like sobbing about how terrible she was, and the repercussions are going to last past that episode, and they followed into last week's episode. So the show has a lot of talented people. It has a very stellar cast and characters who are very interesting, and it does have this Flash crossover coming up next week. It needs to kind of figure out how to do its storytelling a little bit better and not separate it into Supergirl working as a secretary and Supergirl working for the DEO. It needs to see more of her just being a superhero, because again, Benoist is so good. Like, she is as good as Grant Gustin is as the Flash, which is why I'm so excited to see them next week.
I remember we kind of had a conversation about how good she was in the last episode that I had watched, and so probably the last episode or one of them that we recorded together, but where she's going all out against Red Tornado.
Yeah, it's similar to that.
Yeah.
She's good. She really understands the emotions of the character, and it would really be a shame that, I hate doing the Marvel DC comparison, but I want to really quick.
So the DC fans, apparently.
Yeah. Like, in S.H.I.E.L.D., they gave like 17 episodes, right, until the Civil War arc in the first season, and people give it that much time to decide if they liked it.
Oh no, people dropped off of it. I know I didn't keep up with it until that point. But
fans in the studio say give it that much time, and you'll decide if you like it. So I think Supergirl deserves the same. maybe doesn't have great ratings, but a lot of CBS shows don't always have great, like, you know, like, I love Elementary, so I'm glad it's still on, but that can't possibly be bringing in big numbers. So if Supergirl gets dropped off, I hope it at least gets picked up somewhere else, or Supergirl gets to come and visit the Flash every once in a while.
I was gonna say, like, the shameful thing would be is that this Flash Supergirl crossover is supposed to be a multiverse, so I would hope that if it doesn't get picked up, they can have her crossover like Constantine did, but not with just one episode. Have her like peppered in throughout the series. Like that would be really cool. Or even Legends of Tomorrow, it could work even better. You know, because obviously with Arrow, it's not gonna work unless they're fighting, you know, Doomsday or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but let's take that to cross over to Arrow really quick, because I haven't seen this episode this week, but there's a lot of rumblings going around.
What are the rumblings that you're hearing? Because I think it was the best episode in a little while.
Not the episode. It's more of a storyline. I don't know if we want to talk specifically about the episode because I haven't seen it, but maybe just how it's been doing.
Okay.
But it's about the person who's in the grave, and I keep hearing that it's going to be...
Did you hear the leaked photos? Or not hear, but see. Yeah.
Yeah, so spoilers... You guys, spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning is all around. You're listening to this. We're talking about TV shows. Come on.
This is a spoiler for what might happen, not what has happened. So there were photos that were released that makes it look like Laurel is going to be the one who dies. And I don't know about you, but I am going to be so pissed off if they so criminally underused, poorly used this character who in the comics is essential to the building blocks of the Justice League, essential to the Green Arrow arc, and is just a really badass character, and they're going to kill her.
I thought they were going to kill Lance.
No, I think it's Laurel.
Ooh. No, hold on, because there was photos of him in a wig.
With his hair. Yeah, so they're probably going to do a flashback to Sarah's, and then there are new photos of him with his shaved head, and Laurel wasn't in them.
Unless it's like a fake out.
It could be, but
because I'm thinking I think it's going to get to a point where maybe it's possible that Lance might have Hive coming after him, and so they might just need to do a fake out and have him assumed to be dead, and then he kind of goes on the lam.
Well, the showrunners have said that whoever ends up dead is definitely dead.
That's what they said?
Yeah.
It better not be Laurel.
Laurel, and I will be... It's so annoying that they did such a poor job building her character for 2 seasons. Finally gave her the Black Canary mantle, started to make her interesting, and then have pushed her so far into the background that they say, oh, well, we can kill her, whatever. It's Black Canary! And I think it's because they know, oh, well, we have Sarah. We resurrected her. We can bring her back. That's a canary. And it's just outrageous to me how poorly they have used this character, mainly for the build-up of Felicity's character, who I can't stand. So, yeah.
So, can I...
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to take that second.
No, just speaking of Felicity, I think it's hilarious that in the time between that... Like, in the time since we last did a show of this, after the crossover episode, Felicity gets shot and put in a wheelchair, and less than a month's worth of episodes, because there were breaks, she's already back out of the wheelchair.
Yeah, it shows that the show really doesn't want to, like, take a risk like that. And I mean, at the very... So, I don't know, because, like, it seems like they were going the way of wanting an Oracle-type character, which already annoyed me that they were going to make Felicity that, because they've already made her, like, the most untouchable, perfect character that they could with the way they write it. But, and I don't know about you, but I'm more interested in characters who have flaws.
Well, right, exactly. So the thing on the note of her getting out of the wheelchair and like, I'm breaking up with you, she can't do it anymore, right? The scene immediately before that, I thought was fantastic, where there's this entire arc building up of Oliver slipping back into his terrible habit of lying all the time about very important things. And the payoff for it is him making this video for his son, because he comes to he after so many people throwing their arguments and opinions at him, he comes to the decision that I'm the Green Arrow and I'm Oliver Queen. I can't be in this kid's life if I want him to be a normal person. I want him to have a chance to be a human being. And I thought, I mean, it's been done before, but it was very heartfelt.
Yeah, I thought so too. And in all honesty, do I think there should have been repercussions for him lying? Sure.
Of course.
Definitely. Do I think he needed to be painted completely as in the wrong in that moment? No. Because I do think it was an honest human moment of lying. I don't think it was just him lying, like when he was lying to the Ra's al Ghul stuff last season. I thought that was bullshit. I was like, you know what? You just like put Diggle's kid in harm's way. He should try to kill you. But like in this case, when it's about his own son that he only just learned about, where the mother was telling him, don't tell anybody or you can't see him, while grappling with the Damien Dark stuff.
Well, here's the other thing. Like you said, like Felicity's portrayed as a perfect character, right? Here's the thing is, it's that terrible, annoying circumstance. You know how when you're watching something and somebody is angry at a character for not telling them something, in this case, like about Oliver's kid, and they just dig into them and don't give them a chance to explain exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Felicity did to him, because guess what? Thea found out on her own about the check. Everybody else Malcolm Merlyn found out because he's fucking Malcolm Merlyn. Damien Dark found out because Malcolm Merlyn fucking told him. Diggle didn't know. Laurel didn't know.
Yeah.
So it was just a bad circumstance. Yeah, it was gonna get out eventually.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Hate that. I hate when that happens.
And I hate it more because it's just like a way to like. It's a narrative cheat sheet, you know? It's like, here, how can we make more drama? Let's take away any kind of rationale.
Yeah. And you know what else was funny about the whole Felicity being perfect thing? Did you find that I'm almost positive when there was the crossover episode, or the first one, and Felicity has that reaction to Oliver about lying to her about the one DNA test, because you know, like she found out from Barry, and she's like, oh, you lied to me, I can't do this anymore. Her rant to him was exactly the same when she found out months later under completely different circumstances. So you mean to tell me that when there is an alternate timeline created by the Flash and something is changed because he told Oliver not to tell her a certain thing, she is so pure that she's gonna have the exact same reaction?
Yeah, no, I think the show has forgotten how to write Felicity. And I don't get it, because the character can be charming. Let's not, like, I'm not going to say there aren't moments where she completely shines, and I think she's great. The moment with her dad, I thought, was a really good character building moment. But by making her the beacon of light on the show of just pure goodness, strips away any kind of humanity, any kind of realism, any kind of human connection or human audience insert that they had with her. And I think the son bit is just kind of, it drives it home a lot. But yeah.
No, but what was I gonna?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. I think that the best moments since we last did this was probably in that episode with where they brought back Nyssa and she had the bribe to revive Thea. That entire conflict of Oliver stuck in between Nessa and Malcolm Merlyn, it was like a couple episode arc, and I felt like that was probably one of the strongest things that the show's done all season.
Me too.
Especially with the climax with Merlyn getting his hand cut off. That is fantastic. Yeah. And he's such a bitter, angry, like spitting kind of guy.
No, yeah, I was like, you know what, Oliver? Didn't see that coming. Good for you. Like ace work there, buddy. And he was just like, I love that. I was just kind of this tired way of like,
and then
like, not to compare this at all to Indiana Jones, but like when Indiana Jones just takes out his gun and he's like, nope, We're done
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oliver's just like, cheap shot, I don't care, we're doing this the right way.
And despite the Felicity drama revolving around William, it was that I felt like those few episodes were really good storytelling where it was a domino effect of this is what happened with Thea. Nyssa has this bargain. This happens to Merlin. Merlin tells Dark to get back at him about William.
Everything has a consequence.
Yeah, and the show should have kept going with that, and instead it's turned into the Felicity, sad hour. Except for the fact that you were saying, like we were talking about writing Felicity as a character. I will tell you from this episode this past week that she's probably written better here than she has in a little while, and I think it's because her feelings about Oliver have drastically changed so much that her breaking up with him, she's never been more sure about anything in a very long time. So instead of her being like a sad, blubbering mess, like, Oliver, how could you possibly lie to us? You're our friend or whatever. She's like, no, I see you for what you are, and you're not going to change. And that's fine, but I can't marry you.
Okay. That still kind of annoys me, but I'll get to there when I see it.
Yeah. So curious what you'll think about that episode.
In terms of shows that I don't think are annoying us,
The Flash is killing it.
It's really good, as always. But it definitely hit its hot streak in the two-parter.
Yes, where he goes to Earth 2.
Yes, those were my favorite episodes of the season, I think, except for Enter Zoom, or the Welcome to Earth 2, and then Welcome Zoom, or
Enter,
I think that was
whatever,
those were the two
whatever it was.
I thought I did everything well. I can talk more specifically about this last episode if you want, because I feel like coverage has been pretty decent. But yeah, I love that they found out about Jay being Zoom so quickly, even if I'm still really annoyed that Jay is Zoom.
Well, hold up. Is it Jay or is it Jay's Earth 1 double?
I don't even care. Either way, it is AJ. It is Teddy Sears, the actor. I wanted it to be Henry Allen's doppelganger.
Yeah, that would have been way more fun.
It would have been more thematically evocative. It would have brought a lot of angst, and it just think about how strongly Barry reacted to Iris and Joe's Earth 2 counterparts, who in Earth 2 Joe didn't even like him. Think about what he'd have to do if he had to battle somebody with his dad's face.
Yeah, exactly. So it's. I was gonna mention that when you were saying that how strong of a reaction he would have. I felt like when Barry went to Earth 2 and had to assume his role in Earth 2, the fact that he was able to have a phone conversation with his mother, who is dead. Yeah, he's married to Iris, which is obviously a huge ass deal now that Patty's out of the picture, so that's probably quietly resurfacing for him. And then Joe dying in front of his eyes. I feel like the writing and Grant Gustin really conveyed what that would feel like, seeing that, knowing it's not your reality, but still seeing it and seeing these people that mean so much to you, and then trying to come back and seeing how your life is all normal as it is. Yeah,
no, I thought it was all played excellently in with the right touch of kind of melancholy. Grant Gustin, another thing about Grant Gustin and Melissa Benoist, best criers on TV. They really just look childlike, and it makes me go oh, each time. But Grant Gustin was killing it in those couple of episodes. It was such a range of emotion. But then what I loved about, just to kind of segue to him having all these kind of impossible situations to deal with, to have those highs and lows of that one episode of seeing family, losing family that don't really exist to him, and then getting captured by Zoom. And the next episode shows a completely other face of him, because I thought it was the most heroic he ever seemed. Not in his actions, but the way it's he really seemed like the Flash. I've always thought that he's played the playful aspect of Barry Allen very well, and the playful aspect of the Flash very well. And he's also done the angst of Barry Allen very well too. But I thought it was the first time him and just his stature and the way he kind of faced off with Zoom despite the really horrific last encounter with him. it like sold him as like a hero, and I thought it was a really interesting way to do the character that episode or that week. But yeah, there's been a lot of shit that's happened.
I know there was a fucking Street Shark episode,
which was great. I love that episode. That was Flash is an awesome dynamic.
Like that could have been released as like a short film.
Yeah,
and it would have been just great. One of the greatest superhero hours of all time.
Yeah, no, it was killer shark. It was great.
I know. I just wanted to call it a Street Shark because it looks exactly like that.
But
it just doesn't have the high tops.
I almost feel like, yeah, my only issue with the Flash recently was the Zoom reveal, which just I was so frustrated with because I was like, nobody cares about Jay. Like none of us are attached to Jay. I'm not even sure I believe that anybody at Star Labs except for Caitlin was attached to Jay. So like I just thought the consequence of that was kind of like, oh, whatever, let's get on with it. But I do think the last episode, them finding out so soon, was nice because the fact is, this is a room full of pseudo geniuses, okay, who can like create contraptions within minutes, apparently, if we're going by TV logic. And so I think it makes more sense that they would figure it out so soon.
This past week's episode with the Lady Flash, I don't know how you felt about that episode.
Why specifically?
Because something about it just seemed a little odd to me, and maybe it's because I was focusing on, we haven't seen Harry's daughter really do anything other than get trapped in a cage, and I'm watching her character unfold, and I'm like, I hate her.
Well, she's off the show now.
What's that?
She's off the show. She drove away.
She drove away.
Yeah, so that's good. She's on a bus. So yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of her either, and I think the Flash doesn't do a good job with multiple characters, as I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
So see ya.
And then, just like the one-off villain, and then she just kind of disintegrates, and the whole subplot with the V8, and obviously Barry's getting all moody over the fact that he needs to do what he can to beat Zoom.
But I like that he didn't even try it. I like that they didn't have him do that and down that path.
The payoff for it was definitely good. The confrontation that Harry has with him, that definitely worked. I'm just kind of like, up until that point, I was like, all right, I've seen Barry do this before in this exact season about the same villain. It's like, I get it.
I'll be honest, anything seemed better to me because I had just gotten home from Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, that's true. But like you were saying, like he does, like Grant Gustin can do the angst and he does the silly, like the writing and his performance is good. But when he finds out about Jay and he does the running and does the screaming off of the cliff, I was like, this is the most melodramatic thing the show has done. I
wouldn't have minded if they had done the cliff. Like, I kind of believe the just absolute frustration he must have at being duped again by somebody he thought was a friend. And I thought he played it well. I just thought the clip was a bit like, what? Come on, guys. Like, let's.
What are you, the Hulk? Come on, buddy.
Yeah.
No. Did we? Yeah, we covered everything. Pretty much. Yeah,
that's about it. But I think we can try to do these a little bit more regularly now that we're like in the spring season.
And they're almost done in like 2 months anyway. So
Supergirl is back next week. We'll definitely do one for the Flash and Supergirl, I think.
Oh, definitely.
So, yes. Yeah. So tune in for that. We will have soon also a podcast talking about the mess that is Superman, and check out all of our coverage of it on the Young Folks that we've had in the past.
Like our total of 8 articles. Good job, guys.
There's a lot of thoughts to have on this film. I think the only positive was our review. So, but yeah, so check that out. And yeah, we'll have a lot more DC coverage for the next month or two.
Coming your way.